Hello, hello. I'm Jen, and this is The Pilot Principle, the podcast where I sit with a red pen and scribble all over the pilot episode of a television series. So have a browse through the back catalogue and see if you can find an episode that suits. Today, I've reached the last episode of my Doctor Who series, whereby I've gone back over the pilot episode for each new Doctor since the 2005 revival of the British sci-fi series. I've looked at the Northern 9, the Treasured 10, the Endearing 11 and a 12 full of thoughts, but the clock has been reset for the 13th incarnation of the faithful Doctor. Before we get into that, first the rules. On the Pilot Principle, I typically start by talking through the behind-the-scenes stuff, like cast and crew, before I go over the pilot synopsis and throw a magnifying glass over the first 10 minutes. Next, I discuss the Doctor as a character and do the same for the companion, and also analysing how they work as a team before I round up with the Doctor's famous last words. Now, I'd normally give your eardrums an unsolicited, copyright-free and completely tuneless version of the Doctor Who theme song, but for some weird reason, Season 11, Episode 1 doesn't have an intro, so I guess we'll just get right to the credits. Season 11 of Doctor Who aired on the 7th of October 2018 with the pilot title of The Woman Who Fell to Earth, which is a beautiful introductory title. The episode length is 64 minutes, which, as we've established, I don't mind for a pilot, so long as it dips to a regular 44 minutes for the rest of the series, which Doctor Who does. The Woman Who Fell to Earth was written by Chris Chibnall, who takes the reins as showrunner from Stephen Moffat. Now, Chibnall has written for the Doctor Who spin-off show Torchwood and has written 5 previous episodes of Doctor Who before he took over as showrunner. Outside of the Whoniverse, he was the creator for the popular 3-series ITV drama Broadchurch, which starred David Tennant in a leading role alongside Olivia Colman. Now, Broadchurch also starred Jodie Whittaker in a principal role across the series as well, and I hope someone is tallying the nepotism across the whole of Doctor Who, because I've lost count. Chibnall also created the TV series Camelot, which I watched 1 episode of and could not abide because it wasn't Merlin. The Woman Who Fell to Earth was directed by Jamie Childs, and as a director, he has done 2 episodes of the ITV series Vera, 2 episodes of the Sky One series Lucky Man, 3 episodes of the ITV miniseries Next of Kin, 6 episodes of BBC One's His Dark Materials, which is adapted from the Philip Pullman book of the same name. He's also directed 4 episodes of The Sandman, which may have come up in every Doctor Who special I've done so far. Now, Child wrote and directed his first feature film this year, a movie called Jackdaw, which stars Jenna Coleman, formerly one Clara Oswald, and Oliver Jackson Cohen, who, as a pair, starred this year in the Amazon Prime video series Wilderness, which you can check out my pilot analysis for. Moving on to cast, the 13th Doctor is played by Jodie Whittaker. Now, for film, she was in the 2007 British classic St. Trinian's, though I can't recall her for the life of me. And she also starred in the 2011 movie Attack the Block. For TV, of course, spoilers above, as I already mentioned, Jodie Whittaker starred in Chris Chibnall's Broadchurch series as Beth Latimer. She also starred in the Sky One series The Smoke, which I'd never heard of until doing my bits of research. The Smoke also starred Taron Egerton and is about a team of London firefighters. Though I can't recall why I heard these words, I'll never forget them. Somebody once said, "Fire doesn't sell." Moving on to the companions, yes, plural. First, we have Tosin Cole, who plays Ryan Sinclair. Now, Cole was in the EastEnders spin-off E20, where he played Sol Levi. I'm not sure if anybody remembers E20. It focused on the 4 teenagers who lived on the square, and it was probably an attempt to draw in that age group. It got a good 3 series, but back to Soap City. Cole was also a regular on Channel 4's Hollyoaks, playing Neil Cooper, and had a main role in the AMC legal drama 61st Street as Moses Johnson. Good for him. You know, I love it when a British actor makes it to the States. I mean, the pool here, as you can tell, is so shallow. The next companion we have is Bradley Walsh, who plays Graham O'Brien. Now, Walsh is likely well known to most for his role as Danny Baldwin in the ITV soap Coronation Street, and as the presenter of the ITV quiz show The Chase, which he's been for the past 14 years. He mostly presents these days, with the odd acting gig thrown in there, and is going to be presenting the revival of the challenge series Gladiators. Man, I used to love that show. And last but not least on our list of companions is Mandip Gill, who plays Yasmin Khan. Now, Gill's first major television role was on Hollyoaks, where it's possible that her time there overlapped with Tosin Cole's. She also had a recurring role on the 2022 Apple TV Plus series Suspicion, and randomly narrates Channel 4's docuseries A Cotswold Farm Shop. Doctor Who always has a few special faces thrown in, and for the pilot episode, The Woman Who Fell to Earth, we have Sharon D. Clarke, who plays Grace. Most recently, Clarke played the British Prime Minister in the film Red, White and Royal Blue, which is based on a novel of the same name. For TV, she had a long-running role on the medical drama series Holby City, and, as well as various other minor roles, was in the 2021 BBC drama Show Trial, which was one of my favourite programmes from that year. It's a really good analysis of character portrayal and perception and how that factors into whether you believe someone is innocent or guilty of a crime. In the case of the programme, that crime is murder. I also recently learned that Show Trial will be coming back for its second series, so I look forward to seeing what the writers do next. Finally, back to Clarke. As well as being an actress, she has a set of pipes on her, and she has been nominated for a Tony, Olivier and Grammy, and has won 3 Oliviers, one of which was for Best Actress in a Musical, the musical being Caroline or Change, which I actually saw during its run in 2019. And of course, Doctor Who remains a BBC programme, and all episodes from the 2005 revival are available to watch on BBC iPlayer. Whew, okay, now we're done. That was a lot of facts, so let's just hop, skip and jump into the pilot synopsis. Let me set the scene for you. On a seemingly ordinary day, 2 sets of people find 2 sets of aliens. Then they all happen to meet a third alien, though they don't know it, a woman who quite literally crash lands into the scene. The woman is the Doctor, and she ends up on a mission to stop the abduction of an unassuming human who has been tapped as the prize in an intergalactic hunt of an alien species. Now, I've gone on way too many tangents in the credits, so let's plough straight into the first 10 minutes of The Woman Who Fell to Earth. Why the first 10 minutes, you wonder? Well, I was always taught that this is where you had to grip an audience or risk losing them, so you'll often find some of the most intriguing parts of an episode right in this window. We open with a 19-year-old guy who we later learn is Ryan, and he is talking on his YouTube channel about the greatest woman he's ever met. We also learn in this intro that Ryan can't ride a bike before we cut to him on a bike being encouraged to keep trying by his nan Grace and his granddad Graham, though there's clearly tensions between him and his granddad Graham. Ryan consistently falls off his bike and gets frustrated. In anger, Ryan tosses his bike off a hill. His nan and granddad have a train to catch and leave him to go and find it. He finds his bike up in a tree, but he also finds a sparkling electronic geometric shape hovering in mid-air, and like an absolute idiot, he touches it. The geometric shape thing disappears, and in its place is a blue and red rock in the shape of a top. He touches that too, and it's Arctic cold. Not sure what else to do, Ryan calls the police, which is how we're introduced to a frustrated uniformed officer who is on probation. This is Yaz, and she wants more than the sort of petty neighbourhood arguments that she's been sent off to investigate. So when Ryan's call comes in, they send her to check it out. And when she arrives at the scene, it turns out that Ryan and Yaz went to the same primary school, so it's nostalgic city all around until they return to the alien object at hand. Meanwhile, Ryan's nan and granddad, Grace and Graham, are on the train when it gets hit by an unidentified flying object, which causes it to stop and makes all the lights go out. While other passengers are able to abandon the train, the doors to their carriage is locked, so Graham, Grace and a third civilian are trapped on this eerie train, and it's really reminiscent of that Dementor scene from Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. Not sure what else to do, Grace calls Ryan, who, in Yaz's police car, races to their location. Before they get there, a ball of electricity makes its way towards Grace, Graham and the third civilian, but before it can reach them and presumably electrocute them to death, something, or more accurately, someone crashes through the ceiling. The Doctor. She manages to briefly subdue whatever it is, but she's without a sonic screwdriver, so can't get them off the train. As the Doctor's trying to figure out what to do next, Ryan and Yaz suddenly appear, surprising the ball of electrified yarn, which zaps everybody in the carriage before disappearing off through the hole in the ceiling that the Doctor created when she crash landed. And that is the first 10 minutes of The Woman Who Fell to Earth. And as far as it goes, not too shabby, considering we had 5 character introductions, 4 backstories, and 2 strange occurrences. Well, 3 if you count the Doctor crashing through the ceiling. So yeah, that was the opening 10 minutes. Now it's time to talk about the Doctor, who is incredibly likeable straight away. She's focused, driven, and there's none of that barking orders at everybody going on. She's just nice. I know I put an age on the rest of the Doctors, but I can't quite peg where I would put the 13th. She's somewhere in between the toddler-like personality of 11 and the just-finished uni arrogance of 10. But I wouldn't quite put her that young and, I don't know. Do you know what? I do know. I'd maybe say she's more of a sixth former. So that's 17, 18? Yeah, okay, I'm not mad at that. I'd put the 13th Doctor as being around 17, 18 years old in terms of her personality just from this pilot episode. Okay, I can sleep easy now, people. Anyway, I also thought was quite interesting about the 13th Doctor is that she talked about the regeneration process, which we never really hear much about. She tells us that it's incredibly painful and that it's an odd sensation of being trapped between who she was and who she's about to be. She describes it as being born again. And I found that description very wise. When the Doctor regenerates, they are an entirely different person. And I think describing it as being born again is a really specific and easy to imagine way of describing what happens when we get a new Doctor. You know, they're the same person, but they're not the same person because they've been renewed. From the pilot episode, there were also a few references to the fact that the Doctor is now a woman, but as she has no mirror, she has no time to do the whole reflection analysis thing we normally get. But there is a lovely line in the pilot episode where she says, "Sorry, half an hour ago, I was a white-haired Scotsman." And I just thought that was a nice way to just tie it all together. And on the lines of tying it all together, she, of course, is in the remnants of the 12th Doctor's outfit. But I love that they did a 180 with her outfit. I love the culotte, the raincoat, the suspenders, the t-shirt, the boots. Okay, so I liked everything, but it just gave the Doctor a whole fresh new look. And it kind of reminded me of Nine in a way, which I only say because he was the only one out of the last 4 Doctors who didn't wear a suit or some kind of smart attire. So she almost felt like a kid playing dress up, and I liked that sort of renewed energy that it gave things. It's like, yeah, she means business, but she's also here to have some fun. Onwards to the companions, yes, companions. In order of appearance, we first have Ryan Sinclair, who is 19. He's working a job at a warehouse he doesn't care about, but he's doing an NVQ so he can become a mechanic. He has dyspraxia, loves his nan, doesn't so much love his new granddad, is incredibly curious, too curious, some may argue. And I have to say, of all the companions thus far, he asks all the right questions without being prompted. Next, we meet Graham O'Brien, who is Ryan's granddad because he married Ryan's nan 3 years ago. He is a man who would rather run from danger and ask questions later, the opposite of both his wife and his grandson, and just a regular schmegular-degular man, happy with his lot in life and content not to venture too far from his plot. And finally, we have Yasmin Khan, aka Yaz, who has the most companion-like tendencies. From the first 10 minutes, we established that she's frustrated with how things are. She craves something a little more exciting, and as a police officer, she clearly cares about helping people and serving the community. She's a little skeptical at first about the whole alien thing, but she, like everyone else, funnily just takes it in stride. And I know that's a typical requirement of a companion, but honestly, no one even seemed to blink at the idea of aliens in this pilot episode. It was quite funny. In terms of what makes the Doctor and their companion suited, I won't lie to you, I have no idea what makes Ryan, Graham and Yaz compatible with our brand new Doctor. They all just happen to be at the right place at the right time or the wrong place, depending on if you're a glass half full or empty kind of person. It can be tricky, I think, to have so many companions. Now, there have been ensemble moments in Doctor Who before. For example, the 10th Doctor travelled with Rose, Jack and Mickey, and the 11th Doctor travelled with Amy, Rory and River Song. So it's not uncommon, but the above were temporary moments, never a constant gaggle, and we had established who these characters were beforehand, whereas with our new trio, there is still a lot of establishing to be had, and it can prove tricky to get the balance right, I think, over the course of the series. So it was an interesting choice, I think, to have 3 companions to start with instead of 1. Okay, now we're on to my favourite line from The Woman Who Fell to Earth. The Doctor spends the whole episode without knowing who the hell she is. She didn't even know she was a she to begin with. Anyway, the big bad has asked her once before who she is, and she doesn't have an answer for him. She just can't remember. Anyway, finally, during one of the last moments with the prize-hunting alien, when they finally ask, "Who are you?" she says, "Bit of adrenaline, dash of outrage, and a hint of panic knitted my brain back together. I know exactly who I am. I'm the Doctor, sorting out fair play throughout the universe. Now, please get off this planet while you still have a choice." This line really gives you an idea of 13's personality. She's a little waffly, she's polite, she's incredibly self-assured, and she's not about to put up with any bullshit. Overall, it was a really solid pilot episode. It did a great job of integrating the isolated storyline with the necessary element of a regenerated Doctor's pilot. I realise now the problem I had with the 12th Doctor's pilot, Deep Breath, was that the episodic mystery didn't merge well with the problems that went with a newly regenerated Doctor. 13's pilot reminded me a lot of 11's. The short space of time everything took place in, and the sort of freshness of the Doctor. Her bedridden post-regeneration moment was very short, and she was just up and on her feet for the whole episode, which is really nice because we just want as much Doctor as possible. It was a fun episode too, despite all 99 companions running around alongside the Doctor. And it also provided a bit of fresh air because we got out of London and we went up to Sheffield, my alma mater, and we met people who were proud of where they were from and had a ferocity to protect it. Because I tell you right now for free, if London got invaded by aliens, I'd happily leave the astronomical rent costs, rising travel fees and lack of space to them and just move to the country. It's fine, have London, I'll move to the Cotswolds. I will miss the choice of restaurants though. But I digress, because finally I'll say alongside the lack of an opening, it did feel weird to not have the TARDIS feature at all in the pilot episode. I'll go as far as to say I didn't like that one bit. It's that time already. It's time to regenerate. Jodie Whittaker's tenure as the Doctor saw 3 series and 4 core companions. Ryan Sinclair, played by Tosin Cole, Graham O'Brien, played by Bradley Walsh, Yasmin Khan, played by Mandip Gill, and Dan Lewis, played by John Bishop. Now it's time to say goodbye to the woman who fell to Earth, the 13th Doctor, where they look at her last line as she stands alone at the edge of a cliff as the sun sets or rises, just her and the TARDIS. She says, "That's the only sad thing. I want to know what happens next. Right then, Doctor, whoever I'm about to be, tag, you're it." What were some of your favourite moments from Jodie Whittaker's 13th Doctor? Drop me some recommendations over on Twitter/X @PilotPrinciple. Now, although we've caught up with the present, the 60th anniversary 3-episode special will be airing in November, and the regeneration of the 13th Doctor had a surprising twist, which means I'll catch you on the next Doctor Who special as we discuss David Tennant, yes, David Tennant's reintroduction as the 14th Doctor. Blimey, I can't wait to hear how they'll explain that one. Make sure to follow the Pilot Principle on your audio streamer of choice so you know as soon as that episode drops, and I'll catch you in the next one.